Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing a Valentine's Day makeup tutorial. So I'm going to take you all through this entire look from top to bottom, show you how I created it and the products that I used along the way. If you're interested in a Valentine's Day look, this look is meant to be workable for a Valentine's Day, whether it's spent at home because we're in a COVID world, or whether you have the opportunity to go out and socially distance and have a nice dinner out. This look will take you from home, out, and back. I want you to feel beautiful and put together and glowy and snatched. I want you to feel like your best self on this very romantic day of the year. So if you're like me and you want to glam yourself up and feel the best you can feel, keep on watching. We're gonna get into this look right now. Okay guys, so let's jump right into the tutorial, and I'm going to try and keep this as simple and manageable as possible. I'm also going to be walking you through what I would typically do. My get ready routine is probably a little bit more complicated than it would be for another person, but I just wanted to sit down and have a little fun today. First, I'm gonna prime, and I'm gonna use my Milk Hydro Grip Primer. And really, one of the things that I'm thinking about while I'm getting ready is how do I make something that looks like something I would enjoy, something very beautiful, a little high maintenance, but also something that's gonna last, something that's gonna look a little bit more natural, something that's gonna look snatchural, glowy, hoey, romantic. There's a lot of things that we're trying to accomplish with a Valentine's Day look. So, it's gonna take some time, but one of the most important things we can do with this look is prime. That's gonna help everything stay in place, keep everything consistent, keep everything stuck on for however long the night lasts. Next, I do have oily skin. I also have really big pores. That's generally something that comes along with having oily skin. So I am going to try and mitigate against my skin getting super oily by using the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. And I use this in those super oily areas. An eye primer is typically very waxy, so it will block some of that oiliness from coming through. And this particular eye primer also really helps to smooth out any of those pores that are coming through, so you have a very smooth, youthful canvas. I often reach for a mattifying and full coverage foundation. This is one of my favorites. This is the Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation from L'Oreal. I am shade 415, and I'm choosing this foundation because it lasts forever. It will literally last me all day. So if you're also doing like a full-on day date, this will last from beginning until end. And then it also will provide me with the amount of coverage. It really looks like skin. This foundation in particular does a really good job of mimicking skin, but just better. I'm also choosing this foundation because while it is matte, it is not matte. It does look like skin, so there is still a hint of fleshiness. I don't want to use the word dewiness because it's not a dewy foundation. It won't look so matte that it doesn't look like skin. And on Valentine's Day, I want to look a little bit more glowy. I want to look as natural as possible while still looking like I put in a lot of effort, while still looking glam. And this foundation really helps accomplish that. Typically after doing foundation, I like to go in with my contour. Typically I use a cheaper contour stick on the daily, but since this is a special occasion, I'm gonna go in with my Fenty Beauty contour stick, and this is in shade Mocha. And I'm just going to contour my face using my normal routine. This is a cream stick, so I don't like to use it on my nose. I'll show you what I do with my nose here in a second. And I'm gonna take that same kabuki brush that I use for my foundation, and I'm gonna buff it in. As you build your routine for Valentine's Day, especially when it comes to your skin, I want you to think about what type of lighting you're gonna be under. Are you going to be under candlelight? Are you gonna be under dim lights? Are you gonna be outside in broad daylight? What kind of lighting are you dealing with? because that will definitely affect what you should do in terms of contouring and highlighting and how dark you can take things or how light and natural things should be. If you're gonna be out in daylight, this probably isn't the routine for you. It's a little bit more on the high maintenance side, but if you're going to be at home under candlelight or out at a restaurant with romantic lighting, or if you're just doing something at night in general, this is definitely more of an acceptable look because you can take things a little bit darker and more dramatic when the lighting is a little bit more dark and dusky. This routine I built for Valentine's Day at home, since we'll most likely be spending our Valentine's Day just hanging out at home, probably have dinner, have a romantic night in with COVID and everything, and us also just trying to be on a healthier path in terms of our health. It's probably going to be a night in for us. So I'm thinking about the lighting in our house. I am obsessed with lighting. I love mood lighting. I don't like to have bright lights. I like to have mood lighting throughout the house, and so my house is very, not dimly lit, but it's very warmly lit, and it's very soothing and relaxing. So when I'm thinking about my stay-at-home Valentine's Day makeup, I know that I'm gonna be at home, but I also wanna look good, and I wanna feel pretty, and I wanna feel like myself, and I also know that the lighting that I'm dealing with is very warm, and so I can kind of take my look a little bit further than if, say, we were going to lunch. Next, I am going to conceal and highlight using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Concealer. This is my new favorite. I've been using it now for a couple of months, and I am so surprised at how much I love this. What I'm trying to do is make sure that I'm accentuating the angles of my face, that my jaw is a little bit more cut because I do have a round face. I'm trying to accentuate longness. I'm quite round, so I'm trying to make my face look long and angular, but also highlighting the center of my face because I want the eye to be pulled to the center of my face and not necessarily calling attention to the more round angles that exist on the edges. Next, I'm going to conceal on the under eye, and I'm not going to use a ton of product here. This concealer really goes a long way, and I also don't want to put too much product and call attention to my quite wrinkly under eyes, but I do want to brighten so that I look a little bit more youthful and cover up some of that purple underneath my eye. I like to use a brush. This is a tiny kabuki brush, and I do like to use that to blend it out. And then I also afterwards like to take a clean beauty blender and just press under the eye to pick up any excess product and push the concealer into the skin. This will help it look much more natural because ideally you've got someone super up close to you and you don't want them focusing on your under eyes. You want them focusing elsewhere on other stuff. So let's make this look as much like skin as we possibly can. And I'm just pressing the product in. All right, I am liking how that's looking. Since I do have very wrinkly under eyes, I do need to set it or else the concealer will just immediately move where I don't want it to move. I want to set it. I'm going to very lightly set and bake my under eye because I do want it to last, and I also find that if I don't bake it, then everything kind of moves around, but I don't want to put on so much product that it ends up looking really textured and make me look older. I'm going to take my Maybelline FitMe powder in shade 05, and I am going to use my tiny beauty blender again, and I'm going to set. I'm just pressing that product in. I'm not really putting a ton of excess powder. I really won't have any to brush away by the end of this, honestly. This is about the amount of powder that I need to just set it. But I am pressing it into that concealer to make sure it sticks around, that it sets, and that it doesn't go anywhere. Because on Valentine's Day, we want to be youthful. We want to feel vibrant. So we are all highlighted and contoured. So now I'm just going to finish off my face. I'm going to lightly set the face with my Cote Airspun powder, one of my ride or die products. I like the smell. I know a lot of people don't, but this product is not expensive and it really does a good job of setting my face, adding additional coverage without making me look cakey. And notice I'm not powdering everywhere, I'm just powdering in the places where I get super oily. The oil in my skin will break down the product underneath, will break down those cream products, so setting it with that powder will really help it to have staying power throughout the day. Now, today's look is very warm and bronzy and sunsetty and pinky. It's very glowy and hoey. So I'm going to use a little bit of a darker bronzer than I normally use every day. I'm going to go into my new palette. This is from Physicians Formula. And if you know me, if you watch me, you know how obsessed I am with Physicians Formula's butter bronzer and their butter blushes and their highlighters and everything. So I just got this palette. I'm very excited. And I am going to go into this shade right here. This is deep bronzer. I'm gonna take my bronzing brush, pick up the lightest amount of product possible, and warm up my face. Now that I've bronzed, I'm gonna cut my jaw just because I wanna add increased sharpness. I'm gonna take my Airspun, my beauty blender with a straight edge, and I'm going to just dip straight in, pick up some product, and sharpen up that contour. While I have my jaw bake on, I'm going to blush the face. Now we are creating a very pinky, romantic, cool-toned, mauve-y, glowy look today. So I'm gonna choose a blush that matches that aesthetic, and I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. This is the Wildflower Butter Blush. Now the goal is to be pinky and glowy, so I don't want the blush to be the main character in this story on my face, but I do want to have that flush in my cheeks. So I'm going in a little bit lighter than maybe I normally would, just to give the bronzer and then eventually the highlighter a little bit more of a starring role. I'm also gonna go and take the straight edge of my small beauty blender into my powder again, and I'm gonna highlight the center of my nose. All right, guys, I am going to let my face bake while I do my eyebrows. I'm gonna just jump off camera really quickly to put my eyebrows on, and I will be right back. Okay, everyone, I am back. I have eyebrows on and I have primed my eyes to get ready for the eye look. I used my Urban Decay primer as I always do. This stuff makes my eye looks last literally forever and look super, super fresh from start to finish. I can literally wear an eye look for 18 hours and it will last if I use this. And I'm just going to take a brush and I'm going to dust off this bake. I'm gonna brush away my nose, and there we have it. Next is the eyes. So I got a new palette in the mail today, which I am very excited to play with, and it is the Colourpop Making Mauves palette. How does this not scream Valentine's Day to you? I love the packaging. It inspired me so much. I took it out of the box and immediately it was like, I have to create something with this. These are totally Katey colors, and this palette inside is just unfreaking believable. Look at those glitters. I'm so excited, and it just screamed romance. Does this not scream romance and sultry and pretty, youthful, glowy? I'm just so excited to create a look with this. I am going to go ahead and go into shade R&R right here. It's this very neutral shade. I'm just gonna go in with my Sigma E38 brush, and this is a round, fluffy blending brush. And I'm gonna put this color all over my brow bone to really help set a base and help the shadows blend more easily. This is going to be a very blended, soft, romantic look. Because hello, I'm trying to say, hey boo, look at me. My eyes are so romantic. Let's get romantic up in here, you know? We're not gonna be doing anything crazy or complicated. I feel like I'm gonna try to keep this super simple for you guys. This is really for someone that may be new to makeup or has a little bit of experience but isn't totally into it. It's just meant to be very simple and help you guys to create a look that makes you feel your absolute best on Valentine's Day. Okay, next I am going to go in and essentially contour my eye shape, contour the look that I'm trying to create with this shade right here. This is shade Solitaire. And I'm gonna go in, this is a flat, fluffy blending brush. It is made by Morphe. This is an M456 brush. It's a little bit flatter, but it's very fluffy. Great for blending and laying down product. I really like this brush. I'm gonna go straight down into that shade like this and pick up just a little. I'm gonna take it into my crease like so, back and forth, windshield wiper motions. And with circular motions going out towards the corner of the eye, I'm gonna bring it slowly, slightly up above that crease. We want a rounded, pulled out look. This is a mauve-y kind of smoky eye look. A lot of people think that smoky eyes are just all black and gray and maybe a little bit of brown. I'm doing essentially a smoky cat eye with mauves. Next, I'm going to continue to contour the eye and I'm going to go into Big Fig right here. It's our dark medium mauve color. Same brush into that crease and darken it up. Back and forth, windshield wiper motions. I'm not gonna take it as far out as I took the last shade. On this outside part of the eye, I'm gonna take that brush and just go back and forth, start to tie it to the lash line and bring it in. I'm gonna blend it in towards the inner corner of my eye. About a third of the way in is about as far as I wanna take it. And next, I'm going to take shade Marquee right here, this dark purpley color. And I'm gonna take a smaller brush this time. This is a JS12. This is a small rounded blending brush, pretty fluffy. And again, I'm going straight down into that pan, just picking up the tiniest bit of product because especially with dark colors, you can build it up, but you can't take it away. So you wanna be pretty safe with how much product you go in with and very gentle, take your time. And I'm really going to only darken out that outer third. I'm going into the crease, straight in, back and forth, and little tiny circular blending motions. I'm not going all the way in because this shade is really gonna help pull the eye out. And I want the outer corner to look darker than the inside of the eye. I'm also gonna take this shade down to the lash line, connect it all together, blend in little circular motions. So we've laid down the contour of the eye and really laid down the eye shape. As you'll notice, I've used progressively darker colors. The lighter the color, the farther out I've taken it. So we've got our lightest, our medium, and our darkest in terms of where I've placed the product and how far out I've blended it. So if you're looking at my eye, I've really started to shape that out. And now is the part where we get to have a lot of fun. So I am a big fan of glitter and sparkle, and this palette definitely gives me a ton of different options. So I am first going to go into Mauve on Top. It's this beautiful shade right here. I'm gonna go in very, very softly and start to lay down some sparkle. In order to lay down the glitter, I'm gonna go in with my Sigma E54 brush. And this is a flatter packing brush. The bristles are a little bit tougher and a little bit more flat. I'm going to pick up some of that shade on my brush and I'm gonna start packing it over that outer corner. Oh, I love that. Look how sparkly that is. Oh, wow. It's like rubbing pink diamonds on my face. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I want this to look as blended and soft as possible. So I'm not going to cut the crease today. And instead, I'm going to take that same brush from Sigma and I'm going to go into Bi-Coastal, this light pink shade right here, which I'm pretty sure this is the shade of my soul. Pick up a ton on the brush and I'm going to start packing it on the bare lid. And you'll notice on my eye, I'm taking in that first shade, mauve on top. I've taken it about a third of the way in. You kind of want to think about the law of thirds when you are creating your eye look. This lighter shade is covering about 2/3 of the eye. That's going to make it look a little bit more balanced. It's also going to line it up with the irises of your eyes. If I'm looking straight forward and you look at the edge of the blue of my eye and the iris, it should line up to that darker color. I don't really want to take it farther in past the iris too far because it's going to make it look unbalanced and it's not going to look like it's pulling the eye out and elongating it and looking nice and smoky. So think about where your iris is when you're picking how far in to take that darker color when it comes to a look like this. And then I'm just going to place that light shade Bi-Coastal over about 2/3 of my lid. I'm gonna blend it and I'm tapping it on with a glitter. Instead of smearing it on, it's better to tap in it on to the lid. You'll get more glitter that way. And I'm actually thinking that I can take this a little bit farther in terms of sparkle power. So often a great way to make your sparkle or make your glitter a little bit more intense is to use the brushes God gave you and just dip in your middle finger. I like to use my middle finger for this. I'm just going to pick up some of that product on my finger and I'm going to tap it onto the lid. I hope you can see that has really intensified the color. It's also just a natural, really easy way to just blend it in because your finger's kind of fat and it's supple. It's got a lot of bounce to it, so it will naturally blend that sparkle in for you without a lot of effort. I'm gonna take my index finger into that darker shade on the outer corner and add a little bit more. Oh yeah. Ooh, girl. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Hell yes, that is looking great. For the most part, have the upper part of the eye done in terms of shadow. I'm gonna go ahead and add shadow to the lower lash line. You don't wanna leave this bare, especially if you're going for that sultry, smoky, natural look. Leaving that bare looks kind of weird, right? Like it looks a little doll-esque instead of I'm a grown woman and I'm here on a date. So I'm gonna take a flat brush. This is a Morphe M432, super flat, super packed. I'm gonna go directly into shade Marquee. That's our dark purple. That's the darkest color we use. And I'm gonna line my lower lashes with it. So I'm literally going over the root of my lash hairs with this brush and laying down a color. Now that looks pretty harsh, but don't worry, we're gonna blend it out. So I've laid that down and I'm gonna make sure it's connected up here. I'm just gonna take it a little bit up, make sure it's all connected and looks like one eye and not a bunch of like random lines that aren't connected. I'm gonna take our small rounded blending brush again and I am going to almost work my way backwards through the shades that we used to contour the eye. I'm gonna take Big Fig on that blending brush and I'm going to run it along the bottom of the eye and start to blend out that dark purple shade. And I do want the color to go a little bit farther out. So almost the exact opposite of what we did on the upper eye. On the lower lash, I'm going to go darkest to lightest instead of lightest to darkest. But the same idea applies that I'm going to take a dark color and it should be in the smallest surface area. And then slowly I'm gonna add the next lightest color, my medium shade. I'm gonna blend it out and then I'm gonna take my lightest shade and blend it out a little bit farther so that it all kind of looks cohesive and you get almost that same blend on the bottom that you got on the top. No harsh lines. So if you see any harsh lines, yes, to an extent, that shadow is acting as a liner, but just keep blending and make sure that you're blending at the corner of the eye too so that everything stays connected and cohesive. Next, I'm gonna go into Solitaire. And we are all blended. So at this point, you can really see the cohesive shadow shape that I'm trying to create. Now, this is without liner, this is without an inner corner highlight, this is without eyelashes on. This is not a completed eye look, but this is the completed look in terms of shadow for the most part, and something that I would definitely wear for Valentine's Day in my house, especially because I don't want to be all like pow with black shadow in someone's face when I'm just at home. I mean, I do. I am that person. I don't know that that's normal or something that I would even recommend to other people. With one eye's shadow done, I'm going to quickly go off camera and put the shadow on my other eye, and I will be right back. All right, guys, we are on our way. We are almost done with this look. I finished my other eye's eyeshadow. I'm really, really loving how it's turning out. And on this eye, I also added eyeliner. So I am doing a winged liquid liner look on this eye today. And I also added some liner to my lower lash line. So I'm gonna show you what I did on this eye. And I am using the KVD Vegan Beauty Tattoo Liner. This is my Ride or Die eyeliner. I am not doing something super, super dramatic. I'm doing something to bring the eye out and also just kind of clean it up and tie up this look. Everything else is super, super blendy and super soft. This liner is really the only part of this look that isn't soft. I'm gonna bring my mirror forward. I have hooded eyes, so my approach to liquid liner is slightly different than what you might need, but I'll go ahead and walk you through it. I'm gonna tightly line my eye along the lash line, and I don't like to do anything too heavy because I don't want to close my eye. I want my eye to look as open as possible, and the heavier your liner line is, the more closed your eye is going to look, the heavier your eye look is going to be. So that's the easy part. Now the hard part is the wing. Now, because I have hooded eyes, I start looking straight ahead into my mirror, and I'm going to dot where I want the end of the wing to be and start the end of the line. So I'm gonna look straight ahead into my mirror and say, hey, I want the end of my line to be right there, which means that when I close my eye, I notice I basically have to go straight, almost straight down on an angle in order to achieve that winged look when my eyes are open. And then I'm going to connect it and draw the rest of the wing. Liquid liner is on, and that's really the final thing that is going to pull that eye out and make my eyes look wider and longer. Now, the final touch before mascara is the inner corner. So I did add a highlight to my inner corner over here. The only thing that's missing from this Making Mauves palette is an inner corner highlight, in my opinion. I don't think that there's a shade light enough. So I'm gonna pull out my Going Coconuts palette. This is also from Colourpop. Really, really excellent, cool toned, neutral palette. And this is my absolute favorite inner corner shade. This is shade Palm Reader. So I'm just gonna go in with the tiniest little pencil brush, pick up a little bit of that shade, and I'm going to lightly highlight the inner corner. For our next step, I'm gonna focus on glow. I really want my face a little bit more glowy than it already is. Just wanna take this like a little bit farther, and this is totally optional. I have this Laura Mercier Stardust Loose Setting Powder. This is like a setting powder, but it's really, really luminous, so I don't use it very often. It's pretty sparkly. I'm gonna take my big fluffy brush and I'm gonna pick up the tiniest amount of product. I'm gonna swipe it everywhere. Normally I'm pretty oily. On a Valentine's Day date, I'm not worried so much, especially in the winter, about being too shiny. I wanna be glowy. I want them to see me from space. And I can only imagine like candles or low light just catching the little sparkles of this powder in the light and how beautiful it's going to be. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm actually gonna take it lower. Oh, I'm so red right now. I'm gonna glow up all over my chest. Make sure to hit the collarbones. I've added a little luminosity to my skin, which I'm really, really liking. It's just smoothing everything out and making it look a little more glowy, and I really, really like that. But now it's time for highlight. And so I am gonna use two highlighters today. You definitely don't need two highlighters. These just happen to be a couple of my favorites. These are the Maybelline Master Chromes. These are the two pink shades. This is shade 150 and 50. I'm gonna take 150, which is the slightly more pink shade. And you can see I've used this a ton. I really like how glowy this is. I'm gonna take my highlighter brush and I'm going to highlight my upper cheekbone. I love a pink highlight. I just think it's so pretty. And I'm gonna take shade 50, my lighter pink shade, and I'm gonna finish up. I like to take my highlight here and connect it so it's kind of one line like that. I'm gonna highlight my cheeks. If you really wanna look super glowy, you have to highlight those cheeks. That's my favorite spot to highlight. I love the glow that you get when you highlight those cheeks. Oh, it looks so pretty. And tip of the nose, Cupid's bow, and I highlight underneath as well. And I'm gonna do my collarbone. Just add a little extra, oh, something, something. Yeah, baby. I don't know why I'm so red and blotchy, but we're just gonna go with it. Oh, I am loving the highlight and how it goes with this eye look. I think it just really, really pulls it together, especially using a pink shade. Really makes this look like a cohesive look. Really pinky, glowy, romantic. And now since we've added so much product into the face, I'm going to set it. This is probably not a totally necessary step if you don't already have a setting spray. I really like it, especially with the many layers. A setting spray really just helps to melt everything together. It helps your makeup last longer. It helps your face to come back to life and look less powdery. So I'm going to use my Morphe setting spray and spray all over my face.
Honey.
This is why I wait to do mascara until the very end, because if you spray setting spray on your mascara, sometimes it can smear and smudge. So I just wait until the very end. And I am going to use my Lash Freak mascara from Urban Decay. This is on the little bit more of an expensive side, but on a night like Valentine's Day or date night, I do want to use my absolute favorite product. And this mascara takes my lashes from like to like blah. I'm gonna go and do my lashes and I will be right back. Okay, mascara is on. And the reason that I choose this is because I love a really bold mascara. I love something that's just gonna take it all the way there, something that's gonna give me volume, definition, length. Lash Freak really does it all. It is definitely a wand and a formula that takes a little practice to use because it can kind of get everywhere if you're not patient and taking your time. I personally never wear false eyelashes. My eyes are too hooded. I can never get them looking quite right. I think that they look way too crazy for real life, at least on me. Maybe on other people. I've seen plenty of people wearing falsies and they look incredible. But for me, it's just not my everyday thing, and it's not something I'm gonna spend time on, money on. It's not something that I think works with my eye shape. And so I really invest in my mascara, and I want a mascara that's essentially gonna do almost as much as a false lash is going to do. Especially since I have blonde eyelashes, I need something that's gonna give me a lot of pigment and really cover up those blonde lashes and make them actually show up and open up my eyes so that they don't look so dark and hooded. So this mascara, while expensive, is definitely worth it. And I also, for Valentine's Day and for a special occasion like that, I would not recommend a lash. I think that's gonna be a little bit controversial. But if you think about it, if you're on a date, if you're out for Valentine's Day and things go a certain direction, do you really want to be worrying about your false eyelashes like moving or getting ripped out or sleeping in them or having to worry about taking them off before you go to bed? Like, there's so many different scenarios that could actually end up working against you. And so I like to recommend makeup and products that I know are gonna kind of stand the test of time and aren't gonna make you look insane if things go a certain way. And that actually takes me into the last and final step, which is lips. And in that same vein, I think lips on a Valentine's Day or on a date are a very special and particular choice because you really have to think about the type of evening you're going to be having. I like to think through the functionality of my lip when choosing it. So first of all, let's talk about the look. I want something that's going to match my look, but really just juice me up and make me look beautiful and sultry and make me feel good and tie the whole look together. I am so guilty of going bare lipped when I've done a full face of glam all the time, just because lip products can be very, very irritating to me. Not irritating to my skin, just like irritating to my soul. So I'm pretty particular about the lips that I choose to use. And like I said, on a date like this, you're probably going to be eating and you're going to be drinking a lot. Do you really want to have to stop and touch up your lip every 5 seconds, or have to touch it up throughout the night? Or, in my opinion, I want to choose something that's going to be easy to swipe on and go. I can even do it without the mirror if I need to touch it up while we're walking around. And I also want to choose something that if I'm eating or if I'm drinking, if a little bit comes off, I don't want my mouth to look kind of crazy. So I'm not going to choose a dark lip that would potentially rub off and clearly look makeup-y and look inconsistent. I'm going to choose a gloss. A gloss, I think, is the safest option for Valentine's Day because you can swipe it on, usually with your eyes closed. You can put it on really quickly, you can refresh it, and if a little bit comes off, it's not going to be like, oh my god, you're not going to have to worry about any of that. So today I am using one of my favorite lip products of all time. This is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb, and this is in shade Sweet Mouth, which really, it matches the entire look. It's pink, it's gold, it's juicy, it's romantic, and it smells so good. It is like one of my favorite scents in makeup ever. And I am just gonna swipe it on. Boom, bam, done. And that's this look complete. That is it, top to bottom, everything that I am planning to do, honestly, for my own Valentine's Day. This was a good dress rehearsal, and I feel so beautiful. I feel glowy, I feel pretty, I feel natural, but I mean, there's nothing natural about this. Everything about this really, really works. It feels romantic, and it feels like something that I can depend on to stay on and look consistent and look beautiful throughout a date, throughout my Valentine's Day. I just love how this turned out. I love the eye especially. I just think it turned out so nice and soft and romantic. I actually like never want to take this off. This might be one of my go-to looks now. I think it just looks so, so, so pretty. Well guys, that brings us to the end of this video. I am so happy with how this look turned out. I hope you guys found this video educational and helpful as you're putting together your own look for your own Valentine's Day. Whether you're staying at home or going out, I hope something in this was helpful for you. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up down below. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It really, really helps my channel. I'm at 88 subscribers. I'd love to be at 100 subscribers by the end of February. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe down below. It would really mean a lot to me. I'm so happy that you're here and just celebrating makeup, celebrating the ritual of getting ready. Please leave me a comment down below, especially if you have an Instagram to share, if you use any of this for your own looks. I'd love to see what you create. And honestly, I just love to hear from you guys what you want to see next, if you want to see more tutorials, if you want to see brand reviews, if you want to see me doing other stuff. I really like making these videos. I've been keeping up with it pretty well this year so far. It's been a lot of fun. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!